All right, man. So, JJ Redick said something stupid on ESPN. He always saying something stupid. It's like when they go on ESPN, they try to find guys like JJ Redick and Ryan Hollins, and Dominique Wilkins, pretty much responded. So basically, we live in a stat-driven analytical era. Watching the game don't matter no more. Everybody just going off analytics and stats. And if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. I ain't like really knock you for it. That's your choice. But people seem to have a disconnect between how the game is played today and even how it was played in the early 2000s, let alone going back to the 80s, 70s, 60s. And people who don't understand that, they have a hard time believing that today's game is drastically different, right? So it started off with JJ Redick and Mad Dog arguing over Larry Bird. Mad Dog says no way Larry Bird could be a top 3 shooter. JJ Redick says no way Larry Bird could be a top 3 shooter of all time in attempts and 3-pointers made, and percentage wise, he can never be considered a top 3-point shooter. Mad Dog said, yeah, he can. I watched the games. And he went to say it was more physical back then. And then JJ Redick said, well, it's not physical. If Steph Curry is getting pulled and bumped and all this, dude, you got to understand the game is totally different from even the way the 70s were to the 80s. It's a totally different game from when my man split open. Was it Kermit Washington split open Rudy Tomjanovich? He busted his nose open. He busted his whole face open in the game. It was nothing but blood. Yes, the Rudy Tomjanovich that coached the Lakers and the Rockets. All right. It was totally different. Go look at Bill Laimbeer and Larry Bird getting into fist fights. The physicality was definitely, it was hand checking was legal. It was an actual sport. Today it's no sport. Now you hear Stephen A. leak out and say, well, Steph Curry wouldn't have averaged 18 points in our league back in the day. I don't know about that per se. If he, I don't know about that, but he wouldn't be allowed to play the way he played the game today. That's just how old school they was. But that's a totally different conversation. But he's right about that. Larry Bird played through contact. Larry Bird was able to be bumped. Larry Bird was able to be held and didn't always get the foul calls. And it was a different shooting experience. You can't hand check Steph Curry. You can't play on Steph Curry chest. You know what I'm saying? You can't let Steph Curry go down the lane and elbow him in his jaw, elbow him in his solar plex, bow him in his throat, and it's just a common foul. He didn't have to play through that. He didn't have to play through screens, coming off screens, and I'm really in his hip, and I really can bump him, and like Dominique said, I really can control which way he moving. He can't play through that type of contact. That's why I don't really get into, and I think Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, but I don't really get into those debates because the actual game experience is just totally different from how they were allowed to play, from the contact, the physicality. It was totally different. And, what changed that was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was big business. He cried for flagrants. They gave flagrants. Then when he won, they were saying no more hand checking no more. You can't really hand check. So you really couldn't touch nobody. Michael Jordan was the starting point of superstar calls, flagrants, techs, suspensions, fines for physicality where you couldn't touch nobody. All that started with Michael crying because he couldn't beat the Pistons. You notice Isaiah didn't cry, when it came to, going against Boston. They was a physical team, and you know what I'm saying? Lakers was physical to a standpoint. They wasn't as physical as what Boston and Detroit was, but them dudes would literally be out there fighting. Larry Bird literally knocked out Bill Laimbeer, bro. That was a man's sport. And people say, well, it's barbaric. And today the NBA is metrosexual. I don't know how people watch it. They can't dribble. You know what I'm saying? It's a 3-point shootout, and no, it's no competition. You can't touch nobody. It's a foul. And they wonder why people not watching it no more. It's not a sport. You know, sports is contact. Sports is physicality. Sports is everybody on the equal playing field. Sports is people wanting to compete with each other more than play with each other. It's different. We played together in high school. We played together our whole life. Or I want to play with my brother. You know what I'm saying? That's different. You know, you and LeBron destroyed it, but I ain't gonna get into that right now. But, you know, JJ Redick is a Nimrod. He don't know shit about basketball from back in the day. He don't really know. To say that Steph Curry dealing with more physicality than Larry Bird is just, it's dumb. It's an idiotic take, and you keep wondering why ESPN keep finding guys like Kendrick Perkins, keep finding guys like Rylan Hollins, JJ Redick. They keep finding these idiotic guys to make stupid statements. They're just dumb statements. Like, you don't know. You literally don't know. What that man Mad Dog was saying was the tip of the iceberg of what they had to deal with. Not just talking about the structure of the NBA where they wouldn't just let you come down and pull up threes. And if you really look at it, and I said this before, if you really get into it, they average more points per game than these dudes do today, damn near. And look how many threes they taking compared to what they took in the 80s. Look at the 3-pointers in the 80s and look how many points per game they scored. That's what I be trying to tell people, dude. They don't know how to play basketball no more, bruh. That ain't basketball. That ain't what they playing right now. Ain't basketball. You know, it ain't. Some guys is on a different. You know, we got guys. You got guys who gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Boss gonna get calls. Who won't get other calls, and all that shit didn't happen till Jordan came in. But like I said, Jordan was great for business. Steph Curry, LeBron, not so great for business right now. You know. NBA numbers is dwindling. I don't know what TV company really want to fuck with the NBA right now. It's a loss. But then again, they desperate for content. But like Dominique Wilkins said, he said, y'all ain't got to shit on us. We give y'all credit. But we all know the game from 80 to right now, it's a totally different game. It's nowhere near the same game. From the fundamental standpoint, from the coaching standpoint, from the physicality standpoint, from the true essence of basketball. Come on. You couldn't just walk down the lane and think you're going to get a layup. You out your fucking mind. No matter what these enforcers say today, oh, big LeBron, and man, bruh, they will lay his ass out. Mahorn will lay him out. If he couldn't play versus San Antonio Spurs without air conditioning in the arena, bro, go play at the old Boston Garden, bro. They not built the same as they was back in the day. Look how the niggas like Kevin Willis was built, bro. Look how that man was built, man. Come on. Look how some of them dudes literally was physically built. You know, look how the durability. A lot of them in the 80s, they was taking charter buses across the country. 70s. In the 80s, they was taking commercial flights. The Detroit Pistons, the first team with a private jet. You know? So think about that. They wasn't doing this with a silver splatter, with a silver platter and a platinum spoon or a white gold spoon, bruh. You'll see these dudes at the airport just like you see, you know, the colleges and the mom, you know, and your mom and pops and aunt during the holiday. You see these dudes going through the airport. Wilt Chamberlain was playing early Kareem career. They was taking buses across the country. And still giving people the business in Converses, dude. But as far as what Bird had to go through physically, he is one of the greatest shooters of all time. I don't care what the percentages say. I'm gonna trust my eyes. He was in a different category of era than Steph Curry. Steph Curry would have never been allowed to play like that in the 80s. Excuse me. For one, he couldn't allow to play that the way he played until Mark Jackson unlocked it. But the way he look, the way these dudes do load management, the way they get bumped and they out for a year, you ain't seen Lonzo in 10 years, bro, they would die in that era, bro. They were literally dying that era, dude. Some of them players was coked up. They didn't care. Steph Curry, daddy had to get on the floor and try to fight for him, bro. He had black eyes every day. His hip would be bruised. His shoulder would be falling off. A lot of these dudes not even durable enough to stand up to that era. LeBron is like one of the very few dudes who durable enough early on to kind of even deal with that. But JJ Redick, yeah, obviously he don't know what he talk about. He always saying some dumb shit compared to back in the day. You know what I'm saying? He always saying something. But Dominique, I'm with Dominique on this one. And Mad Dog. Like, bruh, he was like, I was there. You know, you was. He said, we could sit down and watch. No, I was there. You ask any brother from that watched basketball back in the day, man, they give Bird his props right. And the Bird was bad. They don't even make niggas like Bird no more. Remember JJ and Adam Morrison supposed to be like the next Bird? The closest thing they got is Dirk Nowitzki, and ain't he from Germany? Like, dog, it's never been another great American white player since Bird. Nope, it's never been another great white American player since Bird. Before him, you had George Mikan, Pete Maravich, John Havlicek. You know, with him, you also had Kevin McHale. You had some guys, Bill Walton in his prime, you know, before the knee injuries in Portland. You had some great, but since him, there's never been another great white American player since Larry Bird. No one close. If it wasn't for Larry Bird, you know, LeBron, Michael Jordan, Bird and Magic, LeBron, Michael Jordan, none of them will be running right now. All of them be crawling. So let me know what you girls and guys think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out the NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. Hit the link tree. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Link tree, the first link in the description. Peace.